We're here, Fresh Ego Kids Shop, the shop talk with my host, Flex, Michail Antonio. I knew I should have looked at it. What's up with you, bro?
What is that? What is that? What's that? What is that? Is that?
Yeah.
Michail Antonio. What is that?
That's your fault. That's your fault. That's your fault. Oh, God. Alright, cool.
This is going to be a long afternoon.
I beg you fix up in it.
He didn't even do anything. That was you.
No, that was
you
you.
and my host Flex.
Huh?
You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
We're here at the shop talk. You know what I'm saying? We've got to talk proper stuff.
Yes, I know.
Fix up. What is this? We got a lot to talk about today.
Shut up, Flex. Okay.
Michail Antonio, Tyrone Mings, thanks for joining us. Marvin Morgan.
Alright, okay, you're a host. I'm a host, alright, man.
No need to swear. We've got to edit that out now.
Yeah, cool.
See, this is the part of the thing, you know. We ain't stopped. Cameras rolling. I don't. You're just really not used to the camera on field or off field.
You're gonna start. How are we gonna get this going?
2 minutes of already.
Yeah. How are we gonna get this going? Yeah, stop. Yeah. Oh God. See, this is how you're gonna see me. Let me put that in. Oh God.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you for having me.
Everyone good. Tyrone, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Everyone feeling good? Are you good? You happy, ready to go now?
I'm ready.
Yeah, good. No, but seriously, we have got a lot of important issues to talk about here today. And at the top of the agenda is mental health, well-being. And to me, I think it's a massive thing, especially within football. We've seen it, especially this year, the rise of what's going on outside of the world. We've had a really difficult year to deal with. Michail, for you, how do you look after your own mental health? What do you have any things that you do that kind of keep you grounded, keep you healthy and fresh?
Not really, to be fair. I'm quite laid back. I take things in my stride, to be fair. And when I am struggling with things, I kind of speak to my family more than anything else. Family, my wife. It's just so I can vent and get it out, so I don't keep it in. But to be fair, not really much affects me. I'm quite a laid back person, and when something happens, I kind of deal with it in my own space and try to just control it that way.
Have you got better at that as you've got older, or you've just always been like that?
I've always been like that. I've never been a person to let something affect me, because obviously you can control the controllables, and that's how I've lived my life, where I can control what I can control, and once something's happened, I don't let it eat at me, because obviously it's now happened. I need to just move on and try and deal with it in any other way I can and move on with life, basically.
Tyrone, for you, you know, everyone sees this topic differently, and everyone deals with different pressures in completely different ways. Mike's basically saying, I'm just quite chilled, I just let everything. Some people don't have the ability to do that, you know. How about you for yourself?
I'd like to say that I'm quite laid back as well, but I'm also quite a deep thinker, I think. So I like to.
Till we get some tissue from Marvin, you need
Are you arguing against
policy?
Hey,
fever. I'm not a deep thinker.
Yeah.
A lot of topics I like to obviously think about, talk about. But when it comes to, like Michail's just saying now, when it comes to like football and that, there's always something else to think about. So there's never really any time to dwell on things if it's a bad result or injury and in fact, there's always another challenge around the corner. So that helps when you've always got something else to think about. You've always got something in the future to kind of set your mind to. But yeah, the past year or so has been tough for everyone, isn't it? Mental health and being locked down and not being able to socialise, not being able to see people. So just finding coping mechanisms, I think, that works for you. Everybody's different, isn't it? Find hobbies away from your work and stuff that takes your mind off what you're stressed about. I think everybody copes in different ways, but I'd like to say I'm quite laid back as well, but it's not always easy, is it?
It's not. That's one of the things where I think if you're maybe blessed or you're type of person, Marv, who can have a strong mentality like that and kind of just chill, let things don't let too many things get to you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with stuff if you can't be like that? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think now it's obviously us as, if you like to say, senior players. How can you affect the youngsters coming through? How can you use your experience to help them to come through and make them feel better about themselves with mental health? Like, it's so difficult now for the youth team players coming into senior football and what's going on with what you just said about being in lockdown and how's that affected them. I always say now for like the under 23 football, how are they going to get into the first team, and how they're going to make them feel better to play football in the Premier League.
I'll say football's difficult now, more difficult now than it was when I was growing up anyway. Like when I think it was I was 21, 22 when Twitter started actually coming around. But before that, it was mail, MSN or MySpace and stuff like that. But it wasn't like, and those type of things where it was more people that you just knew type thing. So now, people now got access to you and you go on these things because everyone's on it. And now people are all going to give their opinions. And there's some people,
it's there.
Some people can ignore it and go, I'm just not going to go on it. But there's some people, you need to look, you need to see, and you can see that it starts to affect people's mentality.
But people also, like, I think social media, people are like gaining an opinion of themselves off what people are telling them.
Yeah.
So like you might come off a pitch thinking, I was actually alright today. But you got thousands of people telling you that you weren't.
And that's the thing. It's not. It might just be the opposition fan to see what they can get out of you. You know what I mean? They know you've had a good game. But they're gonna say you played. Hold on a minute, like, and then it gets you thinking again about your mental health. Did I actually play shit? I thought I was good today. I was told I was good today. This is the thing. As you going back to MSN, it was only people you actually knew. You know what I'm saying? Now it's open. It's like a free fall. You know what I mean? Everyone's coming out and everything, and then now you're getting this now. The racial element now to how can I rattle these players if they're players of colour? You know what? Forget. I'm just going to tell them black this, black that, and it sometimes is it a football thing or is it just a general society thing? The minute I said I'm about to open up a shop, I got targeted by monkey emojis in my DMs. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Is this? And I'm already talking about racism in football, but the minute I've put something positive out there, I've been attacked by this. And I ain't had this since I've been playing football. But the minute I put out, we're opening a shop, boom, and I had to contact Simone Pound from the PFA to say like, I've just received this because of my connection and working with the PFA. And it's for me now, it's turning into like a society thing of are people generally bored in social media, let's see if I can trigger everybody, you know what I mean, instead of the footballers Tyrone Mings and Antonio, I'm going to just trigger every single colour of person to see what I can get out of them. It's like, I don't know how, see Thierry Henry is like, I'm coming off all social media, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that making the racist win? Or is that actually making a standpoint to it? Is that going to make a difference?
It's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one to answer because obviously, if you're no longer on it, you can no longer be targeted. And someone of Tyrone Mings' stature, that people want to follow him. I think he had millions of followers. So he had millions of followers. So those millions of people are now missing out on Tyrone Mings and what his opportunity of him seeing his life and what he's up to. So I can see the stance where coming off it, the fans lose that relationship that they have with the players that they've never had in their entire life of football. Now that they have, so it is that could work, but on the other hand, they are kind of winning because now you've come off it. They're going to move on to the next person.
110%. That's it. Who's the next target?
Easily.
I've got him off. Like, do I go for Ian Wright?
And what about when he returns? Sometimes it's almost like, say, I don't know, Thierry Henry left for a year, let's just say, and then he's like, you know what, I've seen a lot of campaigns, I feel a bit more comfortable now. I could almost guarantee that as soon as he came back, you'd just get them same kind of trolls looking to do the same thing. But how do you make a stance? And is that where we're at with this now? It's like people don't know the threshold, Tyrone, of like maybe how much support maybe to give something versus, but I'm not doing anything, but then I'm doing too much. Like, is that a bit of a thing?
I don't know. I just think we have to be seen to be working as one. Like, and there are so many positive organisations within football. Like you just mentioned, PFA there, Premier League are doing good things, Sky are doing good things, Kick It Out doing good things. Like, there's so many positive forces trying to affect change in football at the moment. I just think we can't get too frustrated by the lack of instant change because as players, it's like, okay, Saturday we're receiving abuse. next Saturday after a game we receive abuse, it's like, oh, nothing's changing. Like, but that's
From your
1
point
week.
of view,
That's 1 week.
From
So
both of your point of view, how do you see change? I know it sounds like how would you see a perfect change for footballers, society? So this can't happen now. I know we can say go to Facebook, Instagram, and all of these big, and Twitter. But for instance, how can we actually change? Because they don't. It feels like they don't care. The more users, the more money.
Yeah. They don't care because at the moment I don't think they have to care, and they might not have to care until there are enough forces and enough momentum behind the campaign, or if it's to change how you tweet or how you send messages on Instagram or how filters work. If it's to change that, then you have to continue to spread that message.
Yeah.
And I think when you filter it better and when you stop people being able to see it as much, trolls will get bored and they'll go on. And that doesn't necessarily, I don't actually think that the majority of people that send racist messages are actually racist.
Yeah.
They just
a way
know
to
that it can trigger you. And it's so easy to send.
100%. And that's what I believe. Like, again, I feel like there are people out there who say something of a racist term, and their next thing was, I'm not racist. I've got a black mate. You know what I mean? And that's how they would use it, as that kind of the saying.
What I believe is, what I think is an easy solution, because technology these days can be controlled from anywhere. When you put up something on Instagram, they blur out certain words, and then you have to press on it to see whether it could be a harmful word. So if you can do that, why can you not have words that literally sends an alert straight to Instagram or anyone?
You can't physically type that word into the platform.
It gets cancelled, it gets rubbed out, and then obviously when you've done that, even obviously you can't really block the monkey emoji, but obviously as soon as it comes up, it sends an alert. You see what they put in, and then accounts get blocked instantly.
Yeah.
So I feel like that should be the answer, and that should be an easy answer. It should be an easy thing to be done. But obviously, like you said, the platforms don't care because the amount of money and the amount of things that they have.
Accountability's not there.
But the way I look at it as well, I could tweet like a Drake song or like a Justin Bieber song, and I could get my account blocked
instantly. Copyright,
But I can call somebody X, Y, you black this, and it probably stay up there until the amount of people like report, and then it gets ripped down. This is for me an issue. You know what I mean? Because obviously how the system's set up is to protect all the copyright stuff, but actually the right
doesn't
thing,
protect people.
Yeah, it doesn't protect the actual human beings. You know what I mean?
But this is something I've always said. I've always said money talks.
110%.
And there's too much money now online. Everything is online, especially over COVID times. Like everything's been online. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all these people have the power.
110. I know they were talking about doing like having your driving license or your passport for every social media account. But then you think about that. That could be half of the following on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you have to put your driving license or your passport in, half accounts drop down. You know what I mean? Like, so they're thinking, well,
do we want that? Exactly, because our numbers going to fall. But then the level of accountability would absolutely be there. Because I guess we've all had it here, haven't we? Like racist trolling online and stuff like that. And I've reported it to Twitter, and then that account might get suspended. But literally, that person, we could all sit here now and make a troll account if we wanted to and start putting stuff up. From
your point of view, how do you see it as a football blogger? How do you? Because obviously you're Man United. And obviously, if you're playing against City, do you still receive just the same thing? If Man United won and you're like, Man United, would you have the
get in your DMs, 100%. You get in your DMs, and I don't even think it's necessarily if you're in the public eye and you guys are in the public eye every single week versus someone who's an online presenter like me versus just any fan. It's there, but it is on a bigger scale because your social account reaches so much more, and it does. I had something happen that it did actually start to get to me because I think what we're good at doing as well is actually saying, when you guys were saying we're quite chilled and stuff like that, I'm exactly the same. But I kind of got into a mode where that's like almost like a automatic comment, like I'm cool. Yeah. I'm cool. But then sometimes you might read that one comment and you go, actually, I'm actually not cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
nah.
I've had it the same.
This-
One comment flipped me over the head to then write something on Twitter and it affected me. When I was
100%.
playing football. Like,
And I
because
put a
I'm like-
tweet out and I actually said, I'm tired. I've never done it before. When I look back at the tweet, I was like, oh, that was a bit emotional. I don't normally do that. That was a bit. But then when I thought of why I did that, I was like, right, I actually am tired of this.
Yeah.
Like because people will kind of put messages of support, which is fantastic. Say, don't give them any attention, flex, it's what they want. Don't retweet them. And it's what you guys talk about is, are we letting them kind of win by not highlighting it? But are you letting them win by highlighting it? You don't really know where to stand.
Yeah. Some people, I swear, are doing it for a little bit of a celebrity status, a little bit of 5 minutes of fame. If they send something, you screenshot it and post it, they're happy, probably.
Yeah.
Literally. It's
So-
like, that's exactly
so,
it. Yeah, I've
like,
made it sort of thing.
It's like the player is, or the person being abused is the kind of, is the person that has to suffer it and then also has to deal with it, because the protocols you got to go through to report it. Let's say you get targeted 5 times a month, which is probably quite
Do you look
conservative.
into your DMs, the other side of you DMs you to, like, because like...
Very rarely.
Yeah, because again...
What, because you know what you might find there?
Yeah.
You just, and I think if what are you looking for?
Yeah.
So I think if you go looking for things, you'll find
gonna
things
find
you
it,
don't want to see.
Yeah.
You might find things you do want to see, but you also find things you don't want to see. So, like, sometimes it gets to the point where you tweet something and just don't look at any of the replies.
Yeah.
Like,
How do you
I
think
don't-
football can... So you guys are, playing at the highest level. What mechanisms are there in place for you guys to deal with that, or is it still a way to go with that?
Literally all we can do is report it, and obviously the club will have a look into it and stuff like that, but it's just I'm going to have to repeat myself again and say only way it can be controlled is by the platform controlling it.
Tyrone, same for you?
Yeah. I think they have the most power, don't they? And if you're talking about like Premier League clubs boycotting social media, or how long do you do that for? Because let's say you do it for a weekend, all right, but then what?
Yeah.
Like,
And to be fair, it's difficult because as much as you don't want to say it, there's loads of money to be made on platforms. And so players and stuff like that will agree to boycott it. But obviously there's still opportunities for people and players to make money on that platform. So we agree to boycott it, and the players are all happy to boycott it and stuff like that. But then they're still winning on the other hand, because now we're losing out on our lifestyle, on other things where
You need the social media.
we need the social
Yeah,
media.
business. Like if you
Exactly.
if you both have interests and stuff like that, you want to be known that you can promote your interests, send pictures of your family, pictures of you playing football, and you can't do this. You know what I mean? Because something is going on. Do you think this ties hand in hand to like the BLM movement? Like, how do you feel like has that worked? Is it a positive thing? Like, could we do more? Do we do less? Do we stop doing it now? Like, does it all tie hand in hand to social media, BLM movement? And how do you know what I mean? How do we move forward? And like again, it's trying to think about it in a positive way, because this could easily be turned into a negative way. You know what I mean? As you can see already,
It's difficult because I feel like with the situation like you say in the BLM situation is because the BLM's been so powerful and so strong, racism has had to match it.
Yeah.
It's had to go up a level.
It had to go up a level. So because BLM's come so strong, everyone's starting to back it and stuff like that, where before the racism was kind of like in the background, happening every now and then, but because the BLM situation's got so strong and people are starting to back it, it's being talked about so much more, they're like, nah. That's why they've had to match the efforts of the BLM, and that's why racism's happening more often, more frequent, because that's what they're like, no, like we're gonna have to, basically they've had to try and match it to make it be as bad. Whereas they've been gone to the games, it wouldn't be, because they get to vent and they get to say it, and sometimes it doesn't get reported. Where they've not been allowed to go to the games, so not being able to vent or do anything they do at the game. So it's the lifestyle and the way we're living right now has made things difficult. It could be the effect of COVID, people being stuck at home, and they also want to get rid of their frustration.
Totally.
So it's just one of the things where at games it should be points deducted. I don't think fines or anything's good enough. I think points deducted is when fans start dealing with it themselves.
So do you feel like that is on social media as well, or do you feel like just in stadium?
You can't say social media because you don't know who that fan is supporting.
Exactly, yeah.
But because you know who the fan is, you've got the season ticket number, there's accountability.
There's accountability there.
What about if they're not season ticket holders? Like
There you go.
if someone just buys a ticket,
turn to a game and like put a t-shirt
Which happens
on,
a lot.
and be like, and
you
then
know what I
start
mean?
doing
Going for the league title. And that.
Yeah.
Goes-
5 fans turn up, United fan goes to City.
It's tough though,
and put
isn't it?
the-
Just to
put the
mash up
shirt
the
like,
thing.
how are you? Get the 10, I'm going to win the league.
So then we're laughing
2-1 for the
then.
team.
So then we're laughing then, but what we're actually saying is that
There's no answer.
It's a grey area. It's a grey
Yeah.
area, bro. It's so difficult to kind of mask it. Like for instance, the Sterling incident with the Chelsea when he's on camera and he's like that, like screaming, and it's like, should Chelsea then be deducted points for that? You know what I mean? It's such a grey area to be like, well, is that fair? Because this happens at every stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From lower league to higher league, like you know what I mean? You're gonna see it. So you can see it now. Players are doing it to each other. This is my thing when I can't. It's and then you can see with the UEFA thing with the Rangers and who did Sparks, Prague, yeah. And
What did you say?
Slava Prague.
he's gonna say Spartak Moscow.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I was gonna let that slide.
Yeah,
I was gonna let that slide.
Why
Nothing slow. Like, what team's that?
Why are you on me for, bro? Seriously, like,
He's been like that since before we started. He's ready. He's ready for
He's
you.
on me, like, you know what I mean?
You just deserve that.
Yeah,
That's just
stop
what
showing
you
off. Yeah, stop showing off. Yeah. Well, that's my point. Like, at the end of the day, how you feel if you're playing and what do you do? Because you've got to remain professional. You can't just start wilding out on the pitch. But like
it's difficult because especially in that situation he wilded out on the pitch, game still finished. But in the other situation with Valencia, team walked off.
Yeah.
Like
No. The team walked off, but he didn't come back on. So the player who actually abused him stayed on the pitch.
Yeah.
And he got subbed. You know what I mean? So hold on a minute. I've been racially abused. I get subbed off. The guy stays on, and authorities say, La Liga say, well, we don't know what he said.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So again, is it a grey area? Like, because effectively, it's true. They don't know what he said. What he could be making up, but we know, like, being a person of colour, you don't just make up stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean?
You're not going
You
to
don't
react
make up stuff like that.
like the Tamari guy. Tamara, what's his name from Rangers?
Kamara.
Kamara.
What was that? Mike?
Kamara. Yeah.
He said that he called him a effing
Yeah.
and then the other guys I called him a guy. So
it's not even funny, but it's
Like,
so
it's not even
ridiculous.
It doesn't make
It
sense.
don't
Yeah.
make
And he's doing the whole,
It's
why
not.
you
Yeah,
doing that.
So
why are you gonna whisper? Just say it. Why are you gonna go like that? Or like, you know, if you go like that, what you're gonna say? You know what I mean?
like it's his word against his word, and that's the difficulty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even though, and they're saying that his teammates heard, Kamara's teammates said that I heard, but then that's your teammate. You're still gonna be back in your boy anyway.
I think we have had a real good unity throughout the players ever since like first lockdown last year, and the captains kind of came together.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
Like Lobes at your place, very outspoken on the topic. Loads of white captains.
Jordan Henderson's done
speaking
really well.
out about it.
Giving his platform.
Even the people that you may not think of, Casper at Leicester, Aspilicueta,
Me.
all outspoken.
Me at Burnley, he spoke.
Yeah.
Spoke
I thought you meant as in you.
I thought you meant.
That's
that
what
what
that
you
Oh, you're black. Come on.
Like, me
not
and
your
Burnley.
time.
I was
Yeah,
like,
it's not your
you're
time,
not supposed to
bro.
be breaking any like transfer news on anything. Like,
But there's been real good like league-wide unity, I think, and yeah, of course, it's not black v white, it's not us v them, and I think it's not
And that's
for us to
something we need
impose
to.
our.
That's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
It's not black v white.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes the media run with that and say, "What are they doing? Is this?
Yeah.
Do we stop now? Do we stop doing the knee? How long do we do knee for?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Do we carry on doing this into next season?
Yeah.
When does it stop? What do you think about the knee? No.
You know what I think about it.
Yeah.
I love it, but
Yeah.
I just think even going back to like reporting racism and what they do about it, like we can argue until there's no film left
Okay,
in the
for the
camera
knee-
about like,
Does it go into next season?
yeah, 100%.
And how long does it go on for?
That's the beauty of it. There doesn't have to be an end date. It doesn't have to be an end goal. You don't have to put a stop on it. Is it still relevant? Is it still helping relevant authorities to continue to have conversations on behalf of players because they see the players are still supporting
every game it's there.
It's still there, still at the forefront of people's mind.
I'm against him, to be fair.
There you go. That's it. And this is the thing.
This is the beauty,
against
it's
it.
not beauty, but this is the importance of talking about this though, because that doesn't mean you're against fighting for us.
Yeah.
But why do you think that?
I feel it's lost its power. I feel that it's become a thing that we do when we blow the whistle, just before we blow the whistle.
Some players are running
Some
off.
players.
Just kick the ball. Some players running off.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Now it's got to that stage where we're like, go up. Where before, boys are putting their hands up and everything. Like
That's
now,
my thing,
it's just
like-
got to that stage where it's just something you do before the game, and that's it. It's lost its power. So I feel there needs to be a next step. There needs to be something that they need to do. I don't think it should stop until they know what that next step is, though.
That's my thing.
Because then that's what Tyrone's kind of.
But when you say
outside, out of
stop,
mind.
like we've got a situation where the Premier League have never backed like taking the knee or a gesture like that where players have done one thing.
It would have been seen as
every
political
game
before, maybe. Yeah.
for a year now.
Yeah.
So if you change it and let's say we link arms, right, and then that loses its power, and then what we just keep doing different things.
That is
What-
my
when
thing.
and also when I say like when you say like it's lost its power, I thought that as well. Until I spoke to people outside of the football circle, and like Conor Cody opened my eyes to it, to how much his kids love it and talk about it at school. So I think it sometimes with us as players, it does get repetitive. It does get like it's losing its power. But let's say it was 100% impactful at the start, and now it's only 60, 70, 10, whatever you call it.
And this is who
It's still relevant.
we've got
People are
this is
still
also all
talking about it.
affecting the
If we
kids.
stop,
We've
it's
got to
about
affect the kids. We've got to affect the next people, the next generation, and we've got to help them. This is what we're doing now, BLM movement, mental health, like even life after football, like trying to share your experience to help the next generation
But
coming
to
through.
affect the kids, that means we've got that need has to be there forever.
But this is my thing, and this is what I'm trying to get at. Does it this run through, and this is a thing now for the next 10 years? Or is it going to run for next season, 2 years, 3 years? There's got to be a structure to it. And who implements that structure? Okay, the Premier League, the FA, the PFA.
For it to affect
Like-
the kids, it has to be there for at least 10 to 20 years. Because then those kids growing up are gonna get older, they're gonna go, then get to 20, then 20 to 20, 30, they have their kids, and then their kids are gonna ask, why were they doing that?
Yeah.
And
I
that's
agree.
what it's gonna be. But then it still might be there because there's always that the Premier League years type thing. And then Premier League years, they're gonna see in 2020 that the boys are taking the knee. And they'll be like, then
Why?
people are gonna ask the
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
why were they kneeling then? And then that's going to be the reason, and that's where they're getting the education from. But if you want it to be repetitive, it's going to have to be there for the next 10, 20 years, because then the kids are going to be growing up, taking the knee, and then obviously they're going to ask the question, and then as they get older, they're going to be grown up. They're going to grow up knowing it, and knowing about racism, and knowing about taking a stand against racism.
It's got to be repetitive then.
It's
So
got to be repetitive.
It's got to go throughout then. You know what I mean? It's just in England, it's going to be in Spain, it's going to be in France. Like, we have to carry on, kind of put it out there for every league to do it then. You know what I mean? But we know that's not going to happen.
But
You know
it's
what I mean?
player-led, isn't it? So the authorities in football, like Premier League, are never going to come to us and say, right, we're stopping this now. Because it's player-led. If one person wants to continue to do it, I'm sorry, but that whistle still has to be there. You still have to do it.
I'm not asking you guys to dig people out intentionally or anything like that or publicly, but you look at some black players are more vocal than other players. Some players maybe they might not be able to articulate themselves or want to be in silence or whatever. What do you think black players should be doing apart from just like taking a knee and if anything?
It's a difficult one, to be fair, because I don't want to put any pressure on anyone to do anything. I feel people should do what they feel comfortable doing. If they just want to be quiet and just live their life and do what they do on the field and represent themselves as who they are, then that's what they should do. If they feel that they are not happy with where things are going and they want to make a stand and do something, then they should do it. Like, I don't feel anyone should feel any pressure to do anything that they want to do. Everyone should live their life and be comfortable and do what they feel is right for them.
Tyrone, what do you say to like some black people who say, no, that black person's not doing enough, or this person's not doing enough, even away from football, just in general?
Yeah, no, I agree with Mike. Like, you can't ask people to do things that they're not comfortable doing. And they may have many reasons as to why they don't want to speak out. Like you said, they might not feel comfortable speaking out. They might not actually understand and be able to articulate themselves, like you said, well enough, or think that it'd be impactful enough. Or they might also see a lot of other high-profile black players doing good work and think the fight is there being fought. Listen, the more voices, it ultimately is better and continues the momentum and gives us more of a platform and more of a voice. But I don't think people should be asked to do things that they aren't comfortable doing. The only thing I'd say on that is, if you're not doing anything, you don't have a leg to stand on
100 if you
to say
and start
nothing's
pointing,
happening. Oh, I'm still being racially abused. All right, but what are you doing about it? You can't
That's
start
one
moaning
thing,
about
that's
things
one
aren't
thing.
changing.
It's the same thing. Like, you can't be vocal on social media and say, this is not good enough. The PFA.
What if they're tired?
You lot are not doing anything, and then you go through their history of things. So what are you doing?
What if they're tired? What if they've tried? What if they've been knocked back? What if they just don't have it in them?
But if you have a platform, you have to use it in a positive way. You can't use it for clout reasons to put stuff up to, I'm playing football, I'm doing this, I'm doing... You've got to use it in a positive way, and that always goes back to the kids, the next generation. You've got to be shown to be doing something positive to make an impact, to then go to the PFA, the FA, the Premier League and go, look, I'm doing this, I need your help, what are you doing? Like, come on, we need to do more. And that's the problem at times. I think there's only key players, or it's hard to say what Mick and were saying.
He forgot his name. You
No,
forgot
I
Tyrone's
didn't.
name.
No, I didn't.
Am I not here? You
No,
forgot
no.
Tyrone's name.
So whose thing?
Because obviously he started it off though, no?
Yeah, and who? There's literally one other person.
Yeah, because I'm going to call you Ty, don't call me Mings and Mingy.
No respect, Tyrone.
No. But that's my thing. At the end of the day.
He went what, Mike and Thing.
Yeah, and then just moved on.
Madness.
I'm going to call you Ty or Mingsy. I don't
You be fed up on that.
See, my bad. At least we're funny though, innit? At least it looks funny, innit?
Yeah. We're laughing at you. We're with you.
Yeah, no. You're laughing with me.
We're laughing at you, bro. Anyway,
yeah, moving on.
We all know that Marv's not a presenter.
I'm here. I'm here for banner.
When people can say, "What are you doing?" I might not be the best presenter, but I'm here.
Exactly.
I'm working.
I'm making.
Don't let them in your head.
Yeah, like on the football field.
We've got this race still to do, you know. We've still got this race. We're raising money for charity, and we've got a race, and we're going to donate money. And I feel like I'm going to beat you in this race.
Wow. And he's injured at the moment. So he's saying he'll beat you. Life after football, though. I want to talk about this. Because actually, all of this fun stuff you're talking about, having races, that'll probably end up on someone's social media saying, I lost in a race to Michail Antonio, look at me, you know, that can happen.
Just trying to get some follows.
You know what I mean? Get the likes up, subscribe, and all that.
I don't need to follow that stuff.
But life after football, though, seriously, I know you've spoken before about, you know, you tried to get business going. It can be tough. Should players, whilst they're still playing, still be having one eye on what they're going to be doing after they're playing, or is that disrespectful to what they're doing? Is that not making sure is that making you less focused on where you need to be at?
No, not at all. I believe that you should always have one eye on what you're going to do after football, because you never know what's going to happen in football. Career can end like that. So I've always believed that you always should have a plan, a strategy, a business plan behind you, where with me, I set myself a 5-year plan now. I'm 30. I'm 31 now, so I've set myself a 5-year plan. So by the time I retire, I want to be able to walk straight into something when I'm retired.
Do you want to talk about, obviously while we're talking to you, about the business adventures that you've gone into and how they've gone? Have they been positive? Have they been negative? And just talking about life, playing football and going into business by being a footballer, and how difficult it is about connecting your name to stuff, because you know, and people here, Marvin Sordell's here. You know what I mean? Playing football and having a business adventure, sometimes it could be difficult, because if you're not playing well and people start realizing you're doing this, too much energy on here and this is affecting this. Has that ever affected you to be, you know what, I won't say nothing about that because...
No, it's not really, to be fair. Like, obviously I've got quite a few business adventures, but I'll say one where I had a clothing label. I didn't put my name to it because I kind of wanted it to be something that surpassed my football career. And I didn't want it to be something where, like a lot of people are doing it now. Where
silent partner.
A lot of people are doing it now where they get a clothing label, go, yeah, this is my clothing label, and they get all the fans to buy it, and they make, to be fair, people make a decent dough from it. But I'm a person where I don't want something from a 2-year, like, all right, cool, quick 2-year money, quick
Then
type
on to the
thing,
next.
and then on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I kind of want something to surpass my football career and just
Longevity,
carry on.
yeah.
It didn't work. I'm not gonna lie. It was
It's a tough market.
It's a tough market.
Don't
mate.
get involved. Yeah.
It is a tough market. So literally, it's like the factories are messing things up, and then like you finally get everything right. The clothes turn up. Sometimes it's delayed, and then you send things out to people. People are like, yeah, you send me stuff, and then you'll post it, and then so I've sent things out to like big people like America, everything, and then waiting for the post. Still to this day, I've not.
Bloody hell, sounds yeah.
Still to this
Welcome
day.
to my world, mate.
I don't get anything. I don't get anything to boast.
Man's only just
Just sends me a cap. I can't wear caps.
That's what I'm saying.
But you're gonna buy them other brands though, ain't you? You're gonna go to Selfridges and buy them other brands though,
What caps?
Yeah, huh?
What caps?
He doesn't wear hats.
Tracksuits and that.
No.
Bacon trade anyway, bro.
So like the clothing label was a madness, to be fair, and I realised real early it's not for me. It's too much time.
So when did you feel like cut all ties?
That was like 2 years ago. I was like,
Do you still have
I'm
the
done.
stock? Have you like?
Man's got boxes. I've got boxes. Yeah. But you know what? I'm just gonna go. What's that sample sale?
But-
I just keep saying I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Do you know how much energy a sample sale is, bro? Like,
Bruv, I'm gonna turn up there and I'll go, look, give me what you want. It's not even like, I'm not gonna
£5
hassle
an
that
item,
thing.
£5 an item.
Just give me anything.
holiday money.
That's it.
Sound like a car boot sale.
What about you, Tyrone? Like, in terms of, I know Mike's has spoken about a failed business opportunity there, which can happen at any moment. But what about the other side of it, or like, you know, players getting into, you know, maybe punditry or media, trying to look for something else, maybe in the last stages of their career? Is that a conflict of interest? I know Troy's done really well at doing that. Troy Deeney, he's transitioning whilst he's still kind of playing, which I think is a positive. But how do you see that?
Yeah, I think Andros is doing it as well.
Andros is doing it as well, still playing.
I think it's good. I think anything that we spoke right at the top of this conversation about mental health. Finishing football, I can imagine when you're getting towards the last couple of years, and bearing in mind nobody knows when that day is coming. Like you're one bad tackle really away from not being able to play football again. So when you start getting to those stages, those final stages of your career, I can imagine it is so stressful. So talking about like what can you be doing off the pitch to try and balance your life, because you know that what you've been doing for the last 20 years is about to come to an end. Like what can I do next? And also like it might not be business, it might be anything that people are passionate about off the pitch, but people seem to think that with footballers, what your talents are and what your passions are have to be exactly the same. But in any other business, you go to work and you finish, and you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can go and...
You've had your interior business for a while now.
Yeah, 5 years.
That's what I mean. I remember talking to you ages ago about this when you first started.
Yeah. And I just think, like, I've managed that kind of partnership between my business partner and I well, where I'm not involved in the day-to-day running. Like she can't call me and say, oh, this paint's out of stock or something, or like, we gotta go get jobs delayed or that.
And that's from a fan's perspective. You say, I'm doing this as a business. They think you're going training, turning up there on the desk with the laptop
on site.
That's in their heads. What you're saying is you don't do day to day. You know what I mean? You might have a meeting or Zoom call for an hour once a week at 7 o'clock at night. You know what I mean?
And the team around you, I always say, like, if you're gonna go into like a business, the team around you have to be so I have to be respectful of her. I would never give her tips on interiors. And she is super respectful of my career, which
you're not going to say I'm the head of the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think fans get that wrong a lot? Like, because you guys got huge fan bases in the Premier League, a lot of scrutiny. Like you said, you might have a game where you think you played well. People are saying you played poorly. Do you think fans get that human element of footballers?
No.
Nah.
Yeah.
Basically,
you're robots.
We get paid. You get paid this amount of money. So
and it's always that. Yeah. It's always the money.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Always
all
the money.
I care about is you don't get paid this amount of money, so you have to be top form every single time, every second of the game. You can't mess up.
You're a robot. You're generally a robot, because the money makes it feel. And you can see now. Obviously, we go back to the mental health thing. Like the money, it looks like from a fan's perspective. Why is he upset for?
Nothing to be upset
He's
about.
on 20 grand a week. And put me on 20 grand a week. I'll be so happy.
Has that ever filtered through to any of you when you've been going through something? Though, like those preconceived notions from them people, when you go, right, actually, let me dust myself off. What have I got to be? Or has it had the reverse effect?
Nah, but you know what I would love for fans to do, and obviously we didn't really touch on the non-league stuff of us playing non-league, but you probably the same. When I was in non-league, I thought the same as a fan. When I earn this amount of money, or if I ever get to the Premier League, my life will be so easy. And then when you get there and you earn the most amount of money you've ever earned,
maintain.
This isn't quite what I thought it was going to be like. There's more stress, there's more scrutiny, and that's why you get paid a lot of money. You get paid a lot of money because not many people in the world can do it. So many people fighting
for your position as well. Think of it like this. At that level.
Christmas, I've had 3 Christmases at home in my career. Every other Christmas, I'm in the hotel on Christmas Day, preparing for a game on Boxing Day.
But a fan would be like, you want X amount of money, give me that money, I'll be in a hotel. And this is the thing that they don't get and understand.
Every New Year's Eve.
What's that like on your family?
Holiday.
What's that like on your family?
Wait, so when you talking about New Year's Eve and bank holiday?
I'm saying every New Year's Eve,
to
every
go out
bank
and party
holiday. I'm saying all these situations where people get those times to do what they feel, to feel free and enjoy themselves. We don't get that. Like, our diets are strict.
Yeah.
Everything. Our life is being controlled to a certain degree. Like, as much as we've got that money, we've got this, we've got that, we've got the scrutiny, we've got our life being controlled. So, would you guys get paid this amount of money to be controlled?
Well,
would you want to be controlled?
I'll give it a go, Mike.
I'll give it a go.
I'm a fan. Do you know what? This is no. Do you know what? I love this bit because I follow United every single game, and we speak to fans after every single game, and there's always something to talk about. Of course, there is. And sometimes what I have learned, especially doing things like this, and now working on the other side of the game from being a lifelong fan, is this human part. I think it's so big because I can hold my hands up and say, you're there in a terraces. I don't know, Tyrone might mess up. If I'm a Villa fan, you mess up ahead of 50p and everyone say, what's that? Shit, you know. But then you do forget, these are normal people. The status has made them in society not normal. But as I'm talking to you, lads, just normal guys. Come from a lot of the same backgrounds that the fan in the terraces have had. And I can actually hold my hands up and say, I've been a massive advocate for that side of it. Especially when things go wrong, because what we're really good at doing as football fans, you guys being as fans, is when it's going well and your favourite player scores or you make a goal line clearance and everything's great.
I've still got scars on my leg.
I will always.
I was playing on side. That's why I had to do that.
I always say this. My partner, John Reuben, he's a Tottenham fan. We watch games, and I'm sitting there saying, it's like, I won't say the players he was saying it to, but he's like, oh, you got to do better there. And I'm like, all right, bruv, come and play football with us. Yeah. He lasted 5 sessions. And come back.
It's a lot
Yeah.
different. It's a
He's
lot
like, oh, this football's on, isn't it? You never come back. You
heard his
never
name.
come back. Yeah, you never come back.
Still panting now.
Yeah.
He's still panting now.
He came for 5 sessions, never come back. He's like, yeah, I won't say nothing like that again, will I?
Like, it's crazy. Like with the thing being controlled. Like me and my brother have banter all the time because he's got a business in house development, and we always have banter about money and stuff like that. And he was like, I was like, bro, I'll go to him, bro. You don't make no money near me, innit? And he was like, bro, but I'm free though. I was like, no.
What's the price?
He's like, he's gone. You know what? I'm going on holiday with my wife and kids tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you do that? No, I'm going June, innit?
For that 1 month down the line.
Yeah, for 3 weeks as well. You're only allowed to you got 3
And
days straight back
so
at it.
anything I say to him, he's like, what? Well, I'm going on holiday tomorrow, innit? Can you do that? No.
There is a lot of pressure. There is.
On Friday night, I'm going for a drink. Do you want to come? No, I can't. Yeah,
But this is the thing, like life after football. Like, are you excited for it? Are you ready for it? Like, no football is ready. I'm living that now. I wasn't ready to get into business. I knew nothing about business. Like, I've had ups, I've had downs.
You knew or don't?
Nothing about business. Being a footballer, you don't know nothing about business. At the end of the day, all you know is your own personal accounts. You know what I'm saying? So then, how do you invest? You know what I mean? How do you manage staff? How do you VAT? You know what I mean? There's so many other bits that you don't know nothing about until I'm understanding it more now, being with my business partner, understanding business and learning from him. You know what I mean? Marv Sordell, his company, 180. Can we turn some cameras? Can we do something? Can we do it like this? Marv, no. You don't want to be in it? Or you don't want to be in it? But my thing is, he is living. But he's living life after football. This is his production company. I'm expecting high quality as well. So, boy.
I don't know what else there is.
Okay, but no, he's at a level. He's doing his thing. So I look at you two and feel like, obviously, you're already in interior business. Obviously, let's talk about you and this new adventure you want to get yourself into.
So obviously, I'm looking to get into presenting after I retire.
Yeah.
I've got a podcast I'm starting up now.
Okay. Okay. Any
Present as in like the Gary Lineker role.
No, so I'm looking to do more entertainment. So it's going to be more lifestyle type of base.
Okay.
Do you see yourself like a Michail Richards, but better or the same? Like
Michail Richards is my boy, so I'm not saying I'm going to be better than him.
But you can see the personality now.
I can see the personality.
The personality shines. You know what I'm saying?
So people say my personality is nice. Isn't it?
This guy. What's wrong with you, though?
But so that's what I'm looking to get into. I've got a podcast now. It's all being edited up. I've got 8 shows so far.
Sick.
Got some decent people on it. Got some good people who might be coming on it again. I'm not going to say anything yet. Just going to put it out. But other things, I've got a production company. I've got shares in as well. So there's certain things that I'm going into. Obviously production with my presenting. So I don't pay for my cameras or nothing no more. So
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So those type of things.
Tell him about it.
So those type of things.
We're keeping the family. You know what I'm saying? It's family settings. You know what I'm saying?
We've come to the end of this first episode, and I have to say it's been refreshing, man, because I think people need to see this side of players. Obviously, the topics we've been talking about are out there as well, but to see people like yourselves come into the forefront to speak about it. 1, when you don't have to. 2, when you can come and just give the whole ABC footballer answer.
3, didn't get paid.
You know what I mean? 3 didn't get paid off Marvin and you got a ticket. You know what I mean? It happens, but
keep it in the family. That's my new one. Thank you for coming, T. And
when you train up with this presenter stuff, you gotta help him. You gotta help him. He needs some serious. You're struggling.
I don't need to do this. I'll just keep it. I'm like, let's just put it this way. You're like the Gary Lineker, and I'm like the Ian Wright. This jokes.
He said that to me as well, and I was like, I'm not having that.
Yeah, this jokes. Just keep it moving.
All right,
keep it in the family.
That's worth it.
Yeah.